I'm going to give my views on Strategos. Strategos, the new game from Microprose and Strategos Games. This is the Strategos publishing announcement. I'm going to hit play, we're going to see it, and then I'm going to discuss what I think. Being a Total War fan and Total War user since so many years, being a wargamer myself, I'm gonna give my point of view in this, so hopefully you're going to enjoy. Let's see the Strategos publishing announcement. The reason I decided to do this is because I have seen a lot of content creators talking about, is this going to be the contender? Is this going to be the is going to make competition to creative assembly? So we have the Romans, Carthaginians, we have Equites, Triarii, Hastatiais, Principes, Velites, everything that we have seen. We have Poenai, armored cavalry, Phoenician foot, Iberians, mercenaries, Libyan spearmen, Scutarii. Army size, large, era, different types of eras that we can select. We can select the grassy flatland. AI type, aggressive, difficulty, default, quantity, difficulty. Okay, let's play, and I'm going to talk as we go. Okay, selecting what he wants. It's a random thing. A splash screen showing some sort of a battle and showing some sort of information. Non-light flanking units impose auto drops, this and that. Very, very similar as what we have seen in the Total War franchise. At first, you can see that the UI is identical. Let's go back a little bit to medieval. Let's look how these guys move. I'm going to return to this point. I'm going to pause. The UI looks exactly the same as medieval Total War. Selecting the units, like the same way you deploy them in Total War. I don't know if this is a work in progress and they are going to move like this, but it seems that there's still some bugs on the thing. Now, I'm not criticizing this. I don't want to be so harsh, but I don't want to say something that is clearly not real. So the way you deploy the units is the same as Total War. You have the same flags. You have the same information. It's some sort of a card that appears there. Okay. Okay, so far he's deploying. The actual deployment zones are the same thing. You hit start, you have the other guys there, and then the battle starts. Terrain. The terrain looks good, evidently. Now that they are going to start moving, we can start seeing several important things that I'm going to address here. Look at that thing. You have the facing of the units indicated by the arrows. That's something good. That's something good. That's something that perhaps the only difference, because in Total War you have this confusion. If you are not familiar, you don't know where these guys are facing, even though they have the symbol. Look at this, zones of control and influence. Of course, in a war game you have zones of control and influence, but this thing is so similar. Let's see. I'm gonna pause here. Settings: volume, enable double-click movement, enable screen edge movement, disable text pop-ups, use post-processing, scalar of the UI. Okay, minimum zoom. This, and that. Pretty pretty simple things. It doesn't look very uh, complex. Particle effects. I am seeing that they decided to go, in terms of design, they decided to go for a more cartoonish style. This is another aspect that I'm going to touch in a few moments. Let me pause here. Graphic wise, apart by the fact that it looks cartoony, I'm not saying it looks bad. It looks good. It looks good. The reflection on the river here is pretty nice. I can see that there's a river in the map. The maps are huge. Good point in this. The maps are huge. I can see the scope of the map. I don't know how far you can zoom out, but I can see the scope of the map is very, very nice. I would like to see as well how these rivers are going to impact the tactical movement of the troops. Are the rivers just there aesthetically, just for the visuals? Are these troops going to have penalties by moving through there? I don't know that. They are throwing right now, the troops are throwing pilum, whatever, arrows and stuff like that. Look at this. These guys are moving like in a, like very, very slow. Okay, don't get me wrong. Visually is good. It looks nice. There's a lot of particles going around. There's sand as they move. It looks visually nice. But for example, if you are a person that never have seen something like a creative assembly title, then you would say, wow, this looks fine. But we are here, and most of us are going to be interested in this title because we have experienced and we have touched a Total War game. Those things you're going to see, these are the couriers. And they are claiming to have a very interesting command and control system here. We're going to talk about that. So I was talking about the fact that we are here because we're Total War players, right? We want to find something that we could say, okay, this has the potential to become a contender. Why we want a contender, as too many of the content creators are trying to say, because um, to have a contender means that you have competition, and competition means that you need to do better your work, right? That's the only reason we would like to have a contender, not because we want to a successor of the Creative Assembly Total War franchise. Of course not. But at this point, as far as I can see, this is perhaps a ripoff of what we have. the characteristic of Total War is that we have these cinematic battles that you really believe that you are in the battlefield because you're seeing a movie, right? You're seeing a movie, and there's nothing that compares to that. Creative Assembly has not, as of yet, anyone that can put himself against that fact that they definitely have the best visuals for a war game so far. And I think that is going to be very difficult for any other studio to manage what Creative Assembly have done since all of these years. Of course, kudos to Microprose and Strategos Games because they have created here something that resembles the Total War. I myself don't want something that will be different. No one wants that. And perhaps we would manage to get all the pieces that have been broken together in the next years. It's not certain, but hopefully we could get that uh, as a community, I mean. But what I'm going to say here is that we don't want a successor. We don't want a successor. We want Creative Assembly to hear us. That's what we want. And we need to try to stop the division. That's something that the only thing that I'm going to say about that. We can see here as well how they fight. There's cohesion. There's mass on the actual lines. I can see it's very nice. It looks nice. I have read in the forums that, for example, they are not going to have a campaign. For all the years that Creative Assembly have created his own mechanics, his own ingredients, a mix of real-time grand strategy map with the tactical battlefields. What I'm saying here is that that's a tough recipe to replicate, and we know this. This is something that also resembles Field of Glory. We have Field of Glory, a table like a tabletop, and we can move the pieces very nicely because it's very war game. So we are having here something that resembles the Total War that is not exactly a Total War game. Of course, it has very nice visuals, and now it leads me to talk about the cartoonish style. Look, guys, there's so many people that complain about the cartoonish looks of Troy, the cartoonish looks of Warhammer, because the people that don't like cartoonish graphics in a Total War game, they believe that this makes the game unrealistic. And why would someone say that this is going to be a successor or perhaps a competitor if it has cartoonish looks? I myself think that the cartoonish look is not bad, but obviously is not realistic. And even though I am not 100% of the people that says that cartoonish looks in Total War looks badly, definitely, as I said, the cartoonish look in this war game is not going to promise that all the people that play Total War are going to migrate in here and just play this thing. I think it's just the hype. If you never knew about Total War, go ahead and buy this thing and start getting yourself wet into the wargaming realm, and you're going to perhaps get a very, very nice experience with this. Look at these visuals. It's pretty nice. It's pretty good. But it's not a contender. That's the point that I want to make here. This Strategos is not a contender for a Total War game. Creative Assembly right now is in a in a very critical point. Creative assembly must give us what we need. It doesn't matter if it's historical, if it doesn't matter if it's fantastical. Collisions here looks nice. They are just in front of each other. They are not going into the lines, and I don't know how it looks a charge, but judging by the looks that the cavalry does not flows smoothly. The cavalry just moves like in a like the cavalry is on a in slow motion, something like that. I don't know if the charges are going to be as cinematic as the charges that you see. Look at this. This is one charge, and we haven't the opportunity to see if that charge was effective. Look at that. There's another charge there, and they cut the charge. So we don't know anything about the charges in that regard. This is again an example of what happens if you fight on a river. It's not showing stats at this point. One in regards of collision, 10 points out of 10. In regards of visuals, 9 out of 10. And here we have it, realistic command and control system. This is because they have implemented the couriers, as they say, over 120 factions and 220 unique units. Let's see how different they are from one another. We will have Imperial Romans, we will have Achaemenids, we will have Macedonians with Peltast, evidently. We will have Germanic with Axis and many more. These are Gauls, apparently, Greeks, Persians. Historically authentic battle mechanics. Couriers. This is the thing. Command and control with couriers. I don't know exactly how realistic this could be implemented in the wargame, but in this time period, couriers, as you may know, were these guys that mounted messengers that will be sent and tell the other blocks of the army what to do and what is happening in the other side, because in this time there's no communications in terms of radios and stuff like that, so you need to send couriers to move from here and there. But how they are going to implement if you have, for example, a courier that has not reached to the other side and tell that, hey, there's a gap in here, there's a flank that is routing in the other side, and if you don't know, wait a second, and if you don't know how this is going to be implemented, is it going to be fog of war if you don't manage to send a courier? That could be a good option, but it's not shown in here. Battle of Rafia, Battle of Issos, it's saying here, Battle of Trebia. There should be a lot of, I think there's going to be a lot of those. So at the end, I think that, yes, looks good. It looks promising. Microprose, it has experience in the strategic genre. That is something that is unquestionable. But apart from the good and positive things, my take here is that it's promising, as I said, but it's not a successor. There's nothing that compares to Total War, and that's my take. So, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. This was my take on Strategos, the new game from Microprose.